The chill of the evening air couldn't compare to the coldness settling in my heart as I approached the upscale hotel. The tip had come anonymously, yet with details only someone close could know. My steps quickened, driven by a cocktail of betrayal, hurt, and an inexplicable need to see for myself. As I neared, the revolving doors of the hotel ushered out the last people I expected to see together, my future wife Clara, and someone I recognized all too well from our circle of friends, her apparent lover. Their laughter pierced the night, shattering the last vestiges of denial within me. But as they saw me, their expressions morphed from joy to horror, as if they had seen a ghost. Mustering every ounce of composure, I managed a sardonic smile and greeted them, "Hello, lovebirds." Before they could react, I stepped forward, my anger finding a physical outlet. My fist connected with her lover's jaw, and he crumpled to the ground, unconscious. Clara's scream cut through the silence of the night, a sound so filled with shock and despair it momentarily rooted me to the spot. She fell to her knees, her hands clasped as if in prayer, begging for forgiveness. The sight of her so vulnerable, so remorseful, stirred something in me, but it wasn't enough to douse the flame of betrayal. "Oh no, you must fully feel the consequences of betrayal." My voice was calm, almost detached, belying the storm of emotions raging within. I wasn't sure what those consequences would be yet, but I knew this moment marked the end of what we had and the beginning of something entirely different. As I stood there, looking down at her, the weight of the situation began to press down on me. This wasn't just about an act of betrayal. It was about the unraveling of two lives that had been intricately woven together. The path forward was murky, filled with pain and uncertainty, but also perhaps a chance for rebirth. The intrigue of what led to this moment and what would follow hung heavily in the air. A story yet to be unraveled. But one thing was clear: the future I had envisioned with Clara was gone, replaced by a reality I was just beginning to comprehend. As the night swallowed the echoes of our confrontation, I left Clara kneeling outside the hotel, a sculpture of regret and despair under the cold gaze of the street lamps. My mind was a whirlwind, thoughts and plans colliding. The immediate adrenaline rush began to ebb, replaced by a deep, hollow feeling. Yet, amidst the chaos, a resolve took shape, a determination to seek clarity, and perhaps justice. I headed to the one place I knew I could find solace and counsel, my brother Alex's apartment. He had always been my rock, the voice of reason amidst my more impulsive tendencies. The city lights blurred past as I drove, each one a reminder of the life Clara and I had dreamt of together, now tainted by betrayal. Arriving at Alex's, I didn't even need to knock. He must have seen me from the window. The door swung open, revealing his concerned face. "I heard," was all he said before pulling me into a hug. His embrace offered a brief respite from the turmoil inside me. We sat down, and I poured out the evening's events between sips of strong coffee. Alex listened, his expression a mix of anger and thoughtfulness. "You need to decide what you want out of this, sis. Is it closure, revenge, or maybe something else?" His words echoed in my mind as we plotted. It wasn't just about confronting Clara or her lover anymore. It was about understanding why, uncovering any deeper deceptions, and deciding how I wanted to reshape my future. Our planning was interrupted by a knock at the door. Hesitant, Alex peered through the peephole, then glanced back at me with an unreadable expression. "It's for you," he said, stepping aside. To my surprise, it was Maria, a mutual friend of Clara and me, her eyes wide with concern, and maybe guilt. "I heard about what happened," she started, wringing her hands. "There's more you need to know." Maria revealed that Clara's affair wasn't just a lapse in judgment. It was part of a tangled web of lies involving more of our close friends. My trust, it seemed, had been misplaced in more than one person. Each revelation added a new layer of betrayal, but also, strangely, a piece to the puzzle. As Maria left, promising to support me however she could, Alex and I exchanged looks. "Seems you've got a bigger storm to weather than we thought," he noted. "Yeah," I agreed, feeling the weight of the situation, but also an emerging sense of purpose. "But now, I have a clearer picture of what I'm up against, and I'm not facing it alone." The intrigue deepened, the plot thickening with each new revelation. The night's events had set in motion a series of actions that would unravel the deceit and maybe, just maybe, lead me to a place where I could start anew. But first, there were truths to uncover and confrontations to be had. In the aftermath of Maria's visit, my world, once filled with trust and love, now seemed a maze of deceit. With each passing moment, my resolve hardened. I wouldn't let Clara and her conspirators dictate the course of my life any longer. It was time for action, to confront those who had wronged me and reclaim my agency in this twisted narrative. Alex and I spent the night devising a plan, a strategy that would bring the truth to light. As dawn crept through the blinds, we were ready, armed not with weapons but with knowledge and an unyielding determination. Our first stop was to confront Nathan, one of the friends implicated by Maria. Nathan, always the smooth talker, greeted us with a cautious smile, which faltered under the intensity of our gaze. "I guess you're not here for a friendly visit," he said, attempting to mask his nervousness with humor. "No, Nathan, we're not," I replied, my voice steady. "It's time you tell us everything you know about Clara and her endeavors." The conversation that ensued was a dance of evasion and pressing, but eventually, the dam broke. Nathan spilled everything, revealing that the affair was just the tip of the iceberg. According to him, Clara had been planning to use her relationship with me to her advantage, leveraging our shared business to secure deals behind my back. With each word, the betrayal cut deeper, yet it also cleared the fog of confusion. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, painting a picture of manipulation and ambition run amok. Leaving Nathan's place, Alex placed a hand on my shoulder. "What's the next move?" he'd asked. "We take this to Clara directly. She needs to know we're aware of her schemes. It's time for her to face the consequences of her actions," I said, the clarity of my decision ringing in my voice. The confrontation with Clara was inevitable. As we approached her apartment, my heart pounded with a mixture of dread and anticipation. This wasn't just about exposing her deceit, it was about reclaiming my dignity and confronting the pain head-on. Clara opened the door, her expression shifting rapidly from surprise to defiance. "What do you want?" she asked, trying to muster her usual confidence. "We know everything, Clara. About the affair, the deals, the lies. It all ends now," I said, my voice firm, leaving no room for doubt. The standoff that followed was tense, filled with accusations and confessions. Clara, faced with undeniable evidence, finally broke down, her facade crumbling as she tried to justify her actions. But no explanation could undo the damage. No words could heal the betrayal. As I left Clara's apartment, the weight of the past few days began to lift. The path forward was uncertain, fraught with challenges and the task of rebuilding. But I felt a newfound strength, a determination to move past the betrayal and forge a future on my own terms. The intrigue of the story was far from over. New challenges and revelations awaited. But I was no longer a passive character in someone else's narrative. I was the author of my own story, ready to face whatever came next with courage and resilience. In the weeks following my confrontation with Clara, I threw myself into untangling the web of deceit she had woven around our lives. With each thread pulled, the narrative I had believed for so long unraveled, revealing a story far more complex and sinister than I had imagined. My quest for truth led me down paths I never expected to tread, into the heart of a conspiracy that extended beyond personal betrayal to touch the very core of our community. The final piece of the puzzle came unexpectedly, on a rain-soaked Tuesday afternoon. I was at the cafe we used to frequent, going over the evidence I had compiled, when an unknown number flashed on my phone. The voice on the other end was hesitant, familiar yet not immediately placeable. "It's time we met," he said. "There's something you need to know about your brother, Alex." The revelation that followed shook the foundations of my world. The meeting was with none other than Michael, Clara's supposed lover, and the tale he spun was one of desperation and manipulation. Alex, my rock, the one person I believed was on my side, had been the architect of the entire scheme. Driven by jealousy and a twisted sense of protection, he had orchestrated Clara's affair to break us apart, believing I was too blinded by love to see the dangers of the partnership I had entered into with her. The evidence was irrefutable. Messages, recordings, financial transactions, all pointed to Alex as the puppet master, manipulating us all in a perverse game of chess. My heart broke not for the love lost between Clara and me, but for the betrayal by the one person I had trusted above all others. Confronting Alex was the hardest thing I had ever done. He admitted everything, tears mingling with the rain on his face. "I thought I was protecting you," he sobbed. "I didn't realize. I became the very thing I was trying to save you from." The aftermath was a whirlwind. Clara and I, through tears and tentative forgiveness, untangled the remaining knots of our lives. While the love we shared could never be the same, We found a new, fragile friendship in the ashes of our past. As for Alex, legal repercussions awaited him, but the loss of trust and the betrayal of family cut deeper than any punishment the law could mete out. In the end, I stood at the edge of the sea, the waves mirroring the tumultuous journey I had endured. The story that had started with betrayal ended with a deeper understanding of love, forgiveness, and the complex tapestries of human relationships. I had sought truth and found it, not in the places I had expected, but in the shadows of my closest bonds. As I looked out over the water, I realized that the intrigue of my story, while resolved, was just a chapter in the ongoing saga of my life. The future was uncertain, a canvas stretched wide and blank. But I faced it with a heart wiser and more open than before, ready to write new stories, forge new relationships, and embrace the unexpected twists and turns of the path ahead.